I'd like to help you get back what you've lost.
X-Men, the animated series from the 90s, was perhaps one of the best superhero animated shows of all time, and the recently released X-Men 97, which is a sincere reboot attempt, has some big shoes to fill. That being said, the start has been promising, and the first few episodes had set up the story perfectly. From the Jean Grey clone losing her mind and fighting the X-Men to Storm losing her mutant abilities, a lot has happened, and the fans have every reason to be excited. In this video, we will cover the possibilities around Storm's potential recovery now that she has come across Forge in the final moments of this third episode. Will Forge fix her condition, and how will he do so? How does the comic book story arc cover the event? In this video, we will find answers to all of these. But before we go into explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin.
Speak plainly. Who are you?
Name's Forge, Storm.
How is X-Men 97 going to cover the Storm and Forge storyline? The third episode has been chaotic for the X-Men to say the least, and they had a lot on their plate with the Jean Grey clone Madeline Pryor losing her mind. While this situation was controlled, we also get a glimpse of Storm, who has been sitting inside a pub seemingly enjoying her new life without superpowers. However, she is interrupted by a gentleman who introduces himself as Forge, a friend of Professor Xavier. He promises to help her get her powers back, and we cannot help but wonder how the show will go about this business. Every X-Men fan will remember Forge as the capable tech expert of the team, and he has always been known as someone who is exceptionally gifted when it comes to inventing things. Previously in X-Men, the animated series, Forge was introduced but from an alternate future version. Now that the character has been brought back, he seems to be from the original timeline. The appearance is not completely unexpected because in the comic book storyline, Forge and Storm have dated for a while, and there have been considerable drama around him as Forge developed a cure for the Omega level mutant.
What I wouldn't give if someone could just make it rain.
Speak plainly.
How does Forge help Storm in the comics? If there is one thing that has impressed us the most about X-Men 97, it is their faithful adaptation of some major comic book events. As is evident from the Inferno saga that has been captured in this third episode, the makers are not afraid to introduce a few subtle changes, but the main theme remains the same. Now it seems like the time is right for them to introduce the relationship between Forge and Storm that develops in the comic books during the time Forge tries to help her in getting her powers back. The stage has been set up right from the time Storm took a laser blast that nullified her powers for the time being. She has also left the company of the X-Men just like she did in the comic book storyline because Storm now wants to rediscover her new life without special abilities. Coming back to Forge, he has been spotted among the X-Men on a regular basis ever since he was first introduced in 1984. He hails from the Cheyenne Nation, and he is a veteran mutant who has a lot of unresolved trauma that he has to deal with. It is said that Forge watched his entire platoon die, and this has left a deep impact on him. His mutant abilities lie in his technological prowess, and he is a genius in this regard who has an unbelievable expertise over machines. If he puts his mind to any problem, you can be sure that he will come up with a technology-based solution for the same, and it is exactly what he does for Storm in the comics. One of the best X-Men stories featuring Storm has to be Life Death, and Forge plays a key role in this narrative. It starts off with Forge caring for Storm and bringing her to his penthouse so that she can recover from her injuries. Meanwhile, he starts experimenting on potential cures for Storm, and in the process, they also spend some time together. They find some common grounds in each other, such as their sense of isolation and their helplessness. While Storm has lost her powers, Forge has also lost his arms and limbs, which makes their struggles similar in some ways. As you would expect, their bonhomie soon turns into attraction, but Storm is still unaware of how Forge is hiding a crucial secret from her. It turns out that Forge is the one who developed the gun in the first place, which has been used to shoot Storm and render her powerless. He came up with this gun during his job as a defense contractor, and when the Wettermancer finds out about this, she abandons the genius inventor and goes back to her wandering days. The Life-Death storyline continues as Storm heads into an agricultural wasteland in Africa and feels her true helplessness when she is unable to use the weather to help the community of farmers living there. She slowly starts to accept her loss as permanent, and she also heads back to reunite with the X-Men. She spends around 3 years and takes part in various missions alongside her mutant colleagues, even without her superpowers. She proves to be a valuable member of the team because of her fighting skills, and she even becomes the leader of the X-Men after defeating Cyclops in a duel. How does she finally get fixed by Forge? Storm spends a few years without her powers and she continues to contribute in various X-Men missions even during this phase. However, as luck would have it, she reconnects with Forge after a few years and the latter gladly embraces the opportunity to help her in her recovery. They fall in love all over again, although there have been some major moments of misunderstanding, during one of which she even stabbed Forge. They even end up being trapped in an alternate Earth, where they spend more time with each other and admit their feelings. Finally, Forge uses components from his cybernetic leg to come up with a new device that cures Storm's powerless condition. She then uses her powers to energize a portal that sends them both back to their own world, and they both rejoin the X-Men. However, their blooming relationship was going to be nipped in the bud pretty soon. Forge always wanted a life away from the X-Men, and he wanted Storm to leave with him, which she refused. The tragic ending of their romance has been highlighted in Uncanny X-Men number 289, when Forge plans a proposal for Storm. However, he is quite certain that she would refuse him, and he retracts the proposal at the last minute. In a heartbreaking turn of events, we get to know that Storm would have actually said yes if this happened, and she feels devastated after Forge gives up. Her on and off romance with T'Challa, aka the Black Panther, also doesn't help her relationship with Forge. Even after this, Forge continues to have strong feelings for her, and he consciously stays away when she gets married to Black Panther. Even in the recent story arcs, Storm and Forge have an uncomfortable presence together, and even a few glimpses of the inventor mutant looking at her will confirm how much he still loves her. Surely this faithful couple deserve better than what they got in the comic books, and we wonder if X-Men 97 will do things any differently. Marvelous verdict. Storm will get her powers back, but you may have to wait. There is little to no debate over the possibility of Storm getting her powers back. She will, in all likelihood, be helped by Forge in the process, but we also suspect Forge's involvement in developing the laser rifle, just like in the comics. As of now, we have to wait for the episodes titled Motendo, or Life and Death Part 1, and Life and Death Part 2, which will air on April 3 and April 17th, respectively. However, now that the second season has almost been confirmed, it might be a while before you see Storm in her powerful mutant avatar. The idea behind taking away the powers of such a dangerous mutant was to highlight her human nature and her complex personality, and it also established that Storm is almost as powerful even without her mutant abilities. Don't be surprised if you see her going back to her teammates and fighting threats even before she regains her powers. We're also suspecting a potential romance between Forge and Storm, but if history serves us right, their relationship doesn't really have a happy ending. Overall, it is safe to assume that there would be a lot of drama left in the series going ahead, and how the narrative deals with Storm is something that we have to wait and watch. Don't forget to tell us in the comments below about your thoughts on the show and the dramatic turn of events. Do you think Storm will get her powers back soon? And what would you think would Forge do to provide a cure? As always, if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.